Hello students, good afternoon once again and come to the last portion of this poem, Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. Till now we have seen that the persona J. Alfred Prufrock is quite dissatisfied with his situation and having the question in the now we will study the poem, read out the poem, then I will explain. So no, I am not Prince Hamlet, or no, nor was meant to be. I am not attendant lord, one that will do to swell a progress, start a scene or two. Advise the prince, no doubt, an easy tool, differential, glad to be used, politic, cautious, and meticulous, full of high sentences, but a bit obtuse. At times, indeed, almost ridiculous, almost at times the fool. Now he compares, Alfred Woodford compares himself with the Prince Hamlet, and he said that neither I am a Prince Hamlet. And in the next third line, not as attendant lord. Attendant lord stands for Paulinus, who give certain advices. So Prufrock emphatically answers the question he has asked in the preceding two stanzas. His reference to Hamlet and the phrase in the same line has nor was meant to be calls up an association with Hamlet's soliloquy to be or not to be. That is the question. Clearly, there is a play on the words here. On one level, the asking of question and the establishing the relationship with the woman is not to be, or on another level, Prufrock is suggesting that he is not meant to be, implying that he is meant perhaps merely to exist and never to really participate in life. On an existential level, the line could indicate that Prufrock is meant not to be, that he might as well be dead for not being able to live as people live. So Prufrock describes himself as a static way in these lines, noticing that his unimportant presence will help to fill out a crowd scene, and finally referring to himself as obtuse, which means ignorant as well as insensitive. Clearly, Prufrock is not insensitive, rather, he is far too sensitive, but he is ignorant of how social relationship provides structure for emotional life. Prufrock determines that he will never be the main character in his own play, although he might have a function as the fool or court jester who can provide light entertainment. The word fool also alludes how foolish he is in his actions. So now come to the next lines. These lines, I grow old, I shall wear the bottoms of my trouser road. This is also an ellipsis. Here this ellipsis indicates the passage of time as Prufrock felt himself growing older, and this has been variously interpreted as having to do with some kind of fashion of the time, as well as pertaining to how people roll up their pants, uh, pant legs to keep from getting them wet as they walk on the shore. It could also be read as reference to getting shorter as one gets older, so that is trouser would need to be rolled up. So this is these lines are as an ellipsis. After that ellipsis, come to the next. Shall I part my hair behind? Do I dare to eat a peach? I shall wear white flannel trousers and walk upon the beach. I have heard the mermaids singing, each to each. Now come to the question Prufrock asks here are satiric version of the serious question he tried to ask of the woman, and of the useless question he has asked of himself. The satire is intensified with his image of himself as an old man who parts his hair behind in order to comb it forward or a receding hairline. The use of rhymed couplets here is particularly interesting because elsewhere the absurdity of rhymed couplet has ironic effect. Here the rhymes seems merely silly as if to recollect the lack of thought Prufrock intends to put into the things he does as an old man. So there are stories of mermaid falling in love with human men. The reference also echoes the emotional frustration expressed by an earlier sea image of the pair of rugged clothes. Okay, so as for next, this line, I do not think that they will sing to me. This again, Eliot used images of mermaids to sing, to signal that Prufrock has come close to experience something wonderful and magical and strange, but that Prufrock ultimately fails to believe that the singing he has heard will ever be for him. Come to the next. I have seen them riding shewards on the waves, combing the white hair of the waves blown back. When the winds blow, the water white and black. So the image in these three lines of Prufrock remaining distant apart from the emotional life he desires add meaning to the proceeding line. Prufrock, as an old man walking along the beach and remembering that he had actually at one time seen the mermaids as well as heard their singing, is especially poignant and helps us see him as someone in crisis. The word seen and seaward echo the earlier silent seas of the second stanza. Okay, now come to the last and final lines. We have lingered in the chamber of sea, by seagulls, wraith and seaward, red and brown, till human voices wax us drown. So use of first plural might be might be convincing confirmation of the reading of the love song of the Alfred Prufrock as a soliloquy or interior monologue of a divided self. Eliot uses the image of sea and seagull and the repetition of singing as well as association now accumulated around the world overwhelming with its meaning of submerging and engulfing to sympathize the deeply emotional place which Prufrock couldn't reconcile with human life in the real world, this necessitating the division in himself. It is another of Eliot's ironic touches that Prufrock's love song could only be sung to him by human voices that would wake his divided self to drown in the sea of his own emotions. And the final one, as we have seen, that the poem has a strong theme of alienation and loneliness. In the poem, the speaker's poor ability to relate to other people, especially women, has him playing out a long dialogue in his mind consisting of fragments of his past that are so intensely personal and does not bother to connect them into a logical flow. At that time, balanced against Prufrock's morbid intention, his fear and entering a relation with the woman he is on his way to meet will entangle him too deeply in the dream, mundane things of the world, is the fear that time is slipping away from him and making him old. So he worries about losing his hair and losing the youthful muscle in his arm and legs, which drive him forward to do what he sets out to do. And yet he hesitates because of the suspicious that the situation is entirely drastic. So I think you have got the idea of the poem. Thank you, and we will meet next day with some next poem. Okay, thank you.